so people know that we're live anyway. Stream is on. Arcade Radio is streaming right now.
All over the floor.
Do you have it up on the Dealy Bob there, Mark?
I usually get a notification. I'm getting smarter about figuring out what's going on.
I'm refreshing the YouTube page, but there's something severely wrong with my Wi-Fi right now, and I'm not getting connected. So
I want to try one thing with this power connector before we go totally live.
Okay.
Oh,
we're already totally live.
But do it.
Yes.
Do it. Do it.
This is the technical part of the show.
This is the part where I type.
Boy, it's even louder than it was.
It's worse.
Airplane.
Oh yeah, it's great. Okay, I found the stream. I'm gonna make sure I can't hear myself, and then I'm gonna. Where's the chat? I always have trouble finding the chat.
Where is the chat? The live chat. With me watching. I don't think anybody's in there right now.
I'm actually using Internet Explorer Edge, which is terrible.
What is that?
It's the new most secure browser put out by Microsoft.
Now I can hear kids. Wait, hang on a second. Okay. Arcade Radio. We are on YouTube, right?
YouTube?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've had the worst internet problems today. Can't even. Live now. 2 watching. It's probably you and Adam. Adam Vernier is in the chat.
All right.
Yeah. There he is. Wait, I gotta switch to night mode. There we go. Now we're there.
Night mode's cooler.
It's way cooler.
You're in night mode.
Why doesn't it just start up in night mode anyway? Can you have it default to that?
No.
Adam says hi. Not me. Adam Vernier, who's in the chat. He might be the only guy that's going to listen tonight.
That's okay.
Well, at least we got somebody in there, right?
Get the 300 people that'll listen to the recording.
There's... Bzzz. It sounds like a lightsaber. Wow. 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 Everybody do your best lightsaber. Wow.
It's getting true.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. It was a terrible Ben Kenobi. Terrible.
It's the best one ever. I think... No.
All right. Well, I think Dan's going to be late to the show tonight, so who cares, right?
We'll be fine.
We don't need him.
I can pretend to be Dan. Hey, gents. That's not
You got to have a really low voice.
really... Hey, gents. No, I can't do it.
Hey, pals. He says pal.
Does he?
Yeah, he loves to say pal.
Okay.
Hey, pal. Hey, pally.
Hey, pal.
Hey, pally. See?
Hey. Uh-oh, no. I've already done that cold open.
We did that a long time ago. All right. Well, normally we have like a cold... Oh, wait, this is the cold open again. I always get confused when we do these, or we're just jibber-jabbering.
Jibber-jabber.
This ought to be really interesting. Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, is everybody ready? Places, everybody?
Yep, I'm ready.
Getting some feedback. All right, here we go. Yeah. All right.
Shall we play a game?
From KOYR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Seriously, Gar?
Seriously, what did I break?
What is going on? It was like so... it's so loud now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like way louder than it was. Now it's quiet. Wow.
I won't move. For the next 45 minutes.
Say exactly where you are.
Shall Shall we play a game?
From KOYR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's Arcade Radio.
Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Welcome to episode 18 of the Arcade Radio podcast. Today is Thursday, June 29th, 2017, and the time is now approximately 7:21 p.m. Central. Thanks for joining us, fellow arcaders in the Arcadosphere. This is your host, Commander Adorable. The legendary Dan Reed joins me tonight, along with the temporal displacement expert, Mr. Mark Time Runner Shields. The guest of tonight's Arcade Radio podcast is Gar of the Garcade. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you on. I mean, met you over at the MGC probably a couple years ago, and then last year just kind of reintroduced myself, and you were apparently starting up an arcade of some sort in some little city in Wisconsin, which we will get to in the interview. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me.
Some of us will need help saying the city name, like Menominee?
Menominee.
Menominee?
Menominee.
We love crazy names here.
Good.
Menominee. Do 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 do. Beware, I live. So, yeah, welcome, and why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are, Mr. Gar?
Sure. My name is Gar Nelson. I'm the owner and proprietor of the Garcade, brand new arcade opening July 1st in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. It's one of the suburbs just outside of Milwaukee.
Interesting. I have a friend who's a pilot. Maybe we should just get him to fly us over there one time, and we'll just, it's probably just an hour flight. We'll land and play some arcade games.
There you go.
With that plane going 40 miles an
Shorter
hour?
than driving.
Yeah. That would be my dog. First time she's been on the show.
Down boy.
It's a girl.
Oh, it's a
Intruder
girl.
alert.
I knew it.
Intruder alert.
Her name is Arya. So, and she's seeing somebody come to the door, so I don't know who that is. It could be Christine, probably. So I'm just going to let her do her thing. But anyway, normally on the show, this is about where we talk about our what's going on in the what do you call it, in our lives, our daily lives. So Mark, with that, why don't you tell us what you're doing in the hobby today?
In my daily life, I just put in some color LEDs. Do you hear some white noise? Is that me?
I think that's Gar.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's better than a hum. Yeah, I put some color LEDs in my mousetrap I bought from Pinside. They're freaking awesome.
Hey, Gar.
Yep.
Yeah, it's you. I don't know if you turned your mic gain way up or what the heck happened, but we're having severe audio problems tonight.
Anything.
Yeah, because we're hearing it sounds like somebody's blasting water through the mic.
Or maybe the air conditioning is, we can hear that possibly.
Do you have air?
Oh, yeah. We have air conditioning. Wouldn't think you'd be picking it up, though.
No, it's weird. Okay, so anyway, on to your story.
Right. Where was I? LEDs in my mousetrap. I did button duty. I noticed that my joust had all the wrong buttons, so I bought some of those. And I took my turkey shoot gun apart, and I'm not going to put it back together until I'm done, and it works. That's it.
That's your whole story?
That's it. That's my whole thing. It's just basically controls. It was a control type of week. I'm playing Janet Jackson's Control right now, actually, in my other ear.
You are not.
Yep. She's asking me if I'm nasty. I don't know.
There's just absolutely no way to edit out dog.
That's why I gave my dogs a bunch of stuff to do.
Interesting. Now here's the thing. When I speak, that's when the white noise comes back. It's coming back through somebody's stuff. Okay. So anyway, moving on. Mark, this says you did something with your mousetrap control panel.
Yeah, that's the first thing I talked about.
That was very quick.
I put LEDs in it. I mean, they were a little washed. I had white lights in there, and it was, especially the blue button, it was really washed out. So I got colored LEDs.
Sure.
And they're amazing.
Well, what I have to talk about is pretty brief too. I finally got my basement floor done, and we haven't talked about what we've been doing for a long time. So, continuing from a couple episodes back, I actually had to rip out all my carpet and put in all new flooring, and so it looks really great. And I had some friends over to play arcade games last week, and it was really fun.
Did they say things like, "Man, your floor, it's so cool"?
No, they weren't even appreciative of it. It's pretty sad. But they love the games.
The games.
Yes, the games. Actually,
Rectify.
Actually, he did mention that he did like the floor. So, way easier to move games around now. I don't have them on carpet, which is good. So, Dan, what are you up to? Dan?
Hi. Hi, pal.
Hi, pal.
I went home and cursed under my breath.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know how we're going to do the arcade news without Dan Reed. Maybe we should just try to do it without Dan Reed.
Or we could hop over to back to the Cade and maybe he'll have joined. What if it isn't?
I'm gonna start it up here. So here we go.
That thing is horrid. It's horrid. I can't imagine people are using it, but whatever.
It's the negative news with Dan Reed.
I love it. It's really sinking in now.
Via Rob Fennell of TouchArcade.com, news atmospheric arcade game Buttheads is flying onto the App Store on July 6th. This is a new, apparently, Apple game. So with so many games competing for your attention on dense catacombs of the App Store, the ability to assess a game with only the slightest glance is vital to... whatever. I'm just reading the article now. That's kind of bull. So anyway, they're saying Botheads is one of the most interesting titles right now, and they're calling it very arcade related. To me, it looked a little bit like another Gravity game, but it has some almost like Sonic elements to it. So you kind of float through caverns and then pick up things, and all of a sudden you're bam, just like a pinball. You're like flying through this whole thing. So and it's only going to be $1, which probably means it'll have ads. So who cares, right? Entertainment Weekly says R2-D2, the droid used in many of the films of the Star Wars franchise, was just sold at auction over the weekend for nearly $3 million. $3 million.
That's a lot of money, man.
This is definitely a droid somebody was looking for. A complete R2-D2 unit assembled from parts used throughout the filming of. So I mean, it's not even like, I don't know. It's like not even a real.
It's cobbled
prop.
together.
It's cobbled
like
together.
The head from this one, and the body from that one.
See, now I know why Dan is so negative when he does the news. We call it the skeptical news. So
does it become a reproduction or is it a restoration at that point?
That's a good question. I mean, I may have to call it a restore. You know, like a lot of us were restoring games.
Not the original base, but all the stuff inside is the same.
I put reproduction graphics on him from this old game. $2.76 million. Actually, yesterday it was sold for that. And I guess Darth Vader's helmet went for a mere $96,000. So
bargain.
Yeah.
Was it melted?
No, it was like the regular helmet. Yeah, dark helmet. So, via Sega Arcade, Sonic turned 26 this month. June 23rd officially marks Sonic the Hedgehog's 26th birthday. With his unique charm, energy, and charisma, Sonic is easily one of the most recognizable game characters in the world. Coinciding with his birthday, Sega has been launching a number of games over the years, and this year is no different, as the company launches a brand new sports game, Sonic Baby Air Hockey, whatever the heck that is, specially designed for kids.
He turned 26, so that means he's been able to rent a car for like a whole year.
Yeah, and drink for like 5 years. Which I don't know.
Mm.
Via RocketNews24.com, this news story is killer. Apparently, there's a new VR volleyball game that adds a girl smell to the game. Yes, you heard me right. Girl smell. Originally started as a fighting game series, developer Koei Tecmo's Dead or Alive franchise has in recent years become more strongly associated with the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball spin-off, in which the cast of amply endowed martial arts frolic in the sand in skimpy swimwear.
It's been swimwear.
Swimwear, exactly. It's been somewhat controversial transition, with detractors scoffing at the sort of lonely individuals who would play a game like this. This is making me laugh because I play Extreme V-Ball for the NES. What is it called?
Is that the game you play when you're not wearing your pants? Oh.
No, it's like 2 versus 2, and it's like dudes, and I think it's dudes, and you pick your teams, and then it's something spike volleyball. Dang it, what is it? Extreme Spike Volleyball. Anyway, it's for the NES. So I've been playing that a lot. But there, the girls come in like in between scenes and say, "You got a point," So anyway, but in the newest iteration of this Dead or Alive Extreme, players won't just be able to look at the bikini-clad competitors, but they'll be able to smell them too. Koei Tecmo is getting into the virtual reality arcade game field with its virtual sense pods, and the company has announced that one of the first games for the new hardware setup will be Dead or Alive Extreme Sense. That's terrible.
It's gross, man. It's disgusting.
It is. It is just.
I don't know what smell I'm gonna be hearing or smelling.
I mean, Gar, are you looking for that?
No. I think we're gonna have enough interesting smells in the area here at the arcade.
Well, I don't know. That's
stinky patron.
I don't
Never know.
How do you define the smell of a woman? I mean, what are you gonna do? Put perfume in there?
I was kind of trying to figure out where they were going to take their sample from, but I can't come up with a
pheromones
answer.
I was hoping it was just gonna be sunscreen or something.
It is very odd. So there's I'm getting a lot of noise here. Oh.
Someone's jamming out.
What is that?
Brian
That
wants
was
to talk.
Brian.
What?
Brian's here.
He is?
Yeah, he's right there.
Well, thanks.
Hi, Brian.
What? This is the lamest intro ever. So the whole idea was to have him call in. Remember when I started I said he's going to bust in the news and I'm going to make a phone ringing sound? But then you're like, oh, Brian's here. So
well, that's what that noise is.
I think we should just roll with that. Breaking news, Brian Armitage has joined the news for tonight. Welcome to the show.
I wish I could talk about buying a $3 million R2D2.
Yeah. What's going on? Were you calling us from the car?
No, I'm in the shop, actually.
Oh. Now I know where the extra noise is coming from.
I had it on mute. I can actually go shut off. I think it's probably the air. I can shut that off. It's loud.
We're hearing a lot of background noise, and you're kind of choppy.
You know what? Give me 1 second. Let me shut it off, and that might help.
Okay.
Hold on.
This is a interesting thing. And actually, Brian is joining us because we have a very interesting news story tonight about his shop. We should actually record us doing that voice, and then I'll play it. It's the background noise for Dan's news. Holy moly! The second video after phone ringing sound effect is how older men regain glory.
Is that any better?
No, you still sound incredibly terrible.
Let's see.
You're very. It's like your mic is turned way too loud. Can you turn down your mic gain a little bit?
I can do that. I think so.
If not, you can just call us from your telephone using the Hangout.
Let's see.
Why don't you give us a shout on your cell phone using your Hangout?
Yep. I'll do that.
Okay. It'll be a much better connection. There we go. Finally got rid of that guy. Yeah. So, in the interest of figuring out which V-ball here, it's Spike V-ball NES. Let's see what it's called. It's called Super Spike V-ball NES. Super great game.
Super great.
Super great. It's a 4-player game, so if you have the 4-tap, you can plug it in and play with 4 players. It's one of the few.
What if you're by yourself?
On the No Friendo? The other 4-player game that's really fun is Ivan Stewart's Super Off-Road for NES.
Oh.
You can play that. That's a good arcade port. Probably one of the best for the NES. Gar, do you have any NES ports that you like?
Is that any better?
Yeah, you
Like
sound
butter.
great.
That's significantly better.
But Gar has a big hum, so just ignore him.
It sounds a lot like the Spy Hunter hum.
Yeah.
Oh.
I better check my MCR.
All right. So, Brian, you have some breaking news for us. What's going on?
Well, unfortunately, we had bought a covered trailer about 4 months ago to help with getting down to events, going out to MGC, doing all sorts of kind of fun stuff like that. And we came into, actually one of our guys came into the shop this morning and called and asked Susan and I if we had moved the trailer last night. And the trailer is moved, but it was not moved by us. Somebody decided to help themselves to a nice 6x12 covered trailer with a Wizard of War and 2 custom cabinets inside of it last night. So
yeah, that's crappy.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, really, it's one of those things where you start to wonder. I mean, how desperate people are, because we had the thing locked up with like 3 different locks, had to be cut off or something done with in order to get the trailer out of here.
Wow. And so it was 3 games inside.
There were, and that's kind of the funny thing. So one of them is a Wizard of War, which isn't incredibly rare, but isn't a common game. And it had a graphics glitch. So it basically, I mean, there's a couple of ROMs that needed, or a couple of chips that we just needed to reseat, and one memory chip that had a problem, but not a big deal to fix. But if you don't really know what you're doing with games, not exactly the one you want. And we have pictures of the cabinet with all the wear marks and everything, so incredibly identifiable. And then the other 2 cabinets are the custom Paradise Arcade Shop bar tops that we made that have our sticker like adhered to the front of them with, like vinyl graphics adhesive.
Yeah. So
it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know what these guys think they're going to do. I think they just took a trailer, and I'm hoping they open it up and say, "Ooh, let's try and sell the stuff and make some money."
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the things we're asking the arcade community to tonight is to please keep your ears and your eyes peeled. Especially if you're looking on Facebook in the gallery or any of the associated forums for arcade games and or Craigslist. And if you see this thing, the Wizard of War and a couple of the custom cocktails, which are beautiful, by the way.
Actually, this wasn't our cocktail. This was our bar top.
Oh, the little Darth Vader heads.
Yeah, well, and it's these ones that we built that they're incredibly unique. So they have our new JAMA harness in them that is PCB based.
Oh.
And they were one of our opportunities to test it. And then they have a USB to discrete converter. So what we used them for was at Combo Breaker down in Chicago. We had Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Turbo playing, which is a kind of hard game to find. And they ran the largest Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo tournament on original arcade hardware. So we had the original boards. We had CRTs running. And then the guys who compete could come and plug their fight stick in. And because of this USB to discrete converter, they could actually play the JAMA game with their PS4 or PS3 fight stick.
That's awesome. And sucks that they're gone. So what were you selling those for, roughly?
Those, first of all, those we weren't selling, and we had people ask us. We told them we wouldn't let them go for less than $2,000.
Wow.
They all have rejuvenated, rebuilt, tube swapped tubes in them. I mean, these were like showpiece pieces of equipment. I mean, it was like all the best stuff we have. Sanwa joysticks. I mean, everything was top of the line in each one of these. They weren't cheap for us to make.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So, and we made 5. 2 were stolen, and we were supposed to bring 4 out to Vegas in 2 weeks for exposition Red Bull's doing.
Wow.
So I had to call Red Bull today and tell them, yep, so we're going to have 3.
Yeah.
But how long does it take to put one of those together?
There's no more parts. We'd have to have the cabinets were custom done.
Oh, I see.
So,
Wow.
I mean, we could do it. It's just the next 2 weeks are not the time to do that. And actually, the USB converters, there's only 10 of them that exist. Like they were run at 10 prototype boards. So
okay,
there's 2 in each cabinet. So 4 of them are in the ether. They're gone. But
so you have 3 left in the shop, or what?
I do. We're pretty excited about these. They're kind of fun. They're a neat crossover between classic arcades and the fighting game community. And what's been fun about these is that the fighting game community has completely latched onto them as this kind of fun way to do things. We're getting requests to take them to all sorts of different competitions now. So it's kind of neat to see them embracing some of these older games.
Cool. What kind of older games?
I mean, all fighting games, but we had Street Fighter 2 Turbo working on there. We're running original Vampire Saviors on there. A lot of the Capcom CPS2 systems, because we have a couple of Darksoft multis set up so we can throw things on there. We did have Power Stone running on one. We had a Melty Blood running on another one. But this new system, I won't get into it in too much detail, but the way it's set up, you could run pretty much any game that has a JAMA type connection. Doesn't always have to be JAMA because we have different boards that plug in, and is a horizontal monitor. So like System 16 games you could play on there. All sorts of different things. It's this new harness system we're working on that we'll probably release in the next couple of months.
Treat.
That should be kind of fun. Makes it easy to wire, and you can use it for a wide variety of games. But
so
yeah,
what's
they're
your
gone.
yeah? So what's your message to the community?
I think if people hear about a Wizard of War or 2 kind of odd bar tops, or they see a bar top with USB connections on it, we'd love to hear about it. There is a police report filed. We actually have been doing a lot of direct messaging. We're trying to keep it off of Craigslist. We don't want people to say, hey, this stuff was stolen on Craigslist or on Facebook openly, because I want these guys to try and sell this stuff. I mean, the things that are missing are extremely identifiable. And
is there a number they can
actually said?
Is there a number they can call if they do see something come up?
Yes. Yeah. So if you have any information or you know anything about it, probably the easiest number to call is just to call the shop number, which is Susan's. That's 651-332-3665. And I'll just say it one more time. 651-332-3665.
Perfect.
And give us the information. We have the numbers for the officers that are dealing with it. It's a $5,000 trailer, and it's not an inexpensive number of games. So it's, because of the monetary amount, it actually got bumped up several levels at the police station. So it's getting some attention. And then the other thing is actually the trailer is a white aluminum single axle covered trailer. It's a 6x12, and it's very distinguished because one of our wonderful employees pulled a little too close to the gas pump. And the driver's side fender has a nice big bang on it, and it's kind of pulled off the front aspect of the trailer. But it literally is 4 months old. So,
okay. Well, that's good to know.
If anybody has any information, we'd really love to get this stuff back. Those cabinets, as I said, were planned to go out to Vegas for a exposition in 2 weeks, and we'll make it work, but it would have been a lot easier and nicer to have them with us.
Perfect. Well, we're really sorry this happened to you. It's
thank you.
It's an off,
well, I've in the direct messaging and some of the communications that have been going out. One of the really neat things is has been the response. I mean, everybody's been super supportive, and hey, we'll do this and we'll look for this. And I know several guys in the state have game wanted ads.
Mm-hmm.
And every one of them has written back and said, if anybody gets in touch with me, I'll let you know right away. And I even stopped by Summit Amusements and told them, and
perfect.
They suggested that they'll have the truck pull around back and come out with baseball bats and turn the cameras off.
Oh, no. Nice. Now, you don't want to offend anybody in the community. And that's one nice thing is that, no matter your political views, no matter, what your religion is, whatever, all of us have one thing in common, and that is we love arcade games, we love the hobby, we love collecting, we love restoring, and we pour our heart and souls into these things. So, when somebody in the community is offended, this is a serious thing. It's an affront to not only you, but everybody in the community. So we will definitely be keeping an eye out for you.
Well, I appreciate that, and thanks for letting me call in and having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I gotta probably tune in for the rest of the show and hear all about the Garcade.
Awesome. Well, and you've met Gar before, right?
I have. We had the pleasure of being next to him at MGC and seeing a lot of his cabinets. And I have a cabinet I'm supposed to get out to him at some point, and I'm incredibly delinquent with.
No, we're okay, man. I knew you were going to be a little late on it. And, losing the trailer makes the explanation a whole lot more.
Perfect.
Well, I'm just glad we didn't have that game in the trailer.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which game is going out? Which game?
Well, we've got a couple extra battle zones.
Oh yeah,
nice. So we're gonna try and get a battle zone out to them, but it's I mean, those guys, they're doing some really neat stuff, and it was, I just spending the time sitting next to him and chatting with him at MGC. I mean, it's one thing that is really nice about this hobby is meeting good people and meeting people that are doing good things, and he's both of those, and it's good to see people pushing forward and making this stuff happen.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining. I'm sorry about that, Gar. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say thanks, Brian. That we appreciate your support, and we had just as much fun sitting and talking with you and watching your son come over and play the games. He and my daughter are like besties now, so it's very cool. And Brian, you're right, man. The people in this hobby are just some of the most stand-up, amazing people I've ever met. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without a lot of the guys locally that have volunteered time to come out and fix machines and paint walls, and I mean, it's unreal.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a neat. It's funny because we all, the ad goes up on Craigslist and we all circle like rabid dogs. but at the end of the day, it is a community, and one of the things I've noticed a lot more on Facebook, and I really like this aspect of it, is when a game goes up and disappears, there's less complaining and there's a lot more, hey, who got this?
Yeah. They're excited for each other.
Excitement about, hey, like it's kind of like, I didn't get it, but I hope somebody here did. Who got it? I want the story. And
yeah,
it's neat. It's neat to see that kind of coming out and becoming more prevalent, because it makes it a joy to be a part of.
Absolutely.
So,
well, thanks again for calling in, Brian. We'll keep our eye out, and go ahead and listen to the rest of the show. We should be having some fun here.
All right, sounds good. Take care, guys. Good talking to you.
Thanks, man.
Hey, take it easy, Brian.
Yep. Bye.
This is my phone hanging up, son. Click. There he goes. All right, how about some? How about we just over to you, Dan or Mark?
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin quarter mile.
Back to the Cade with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
All right. Watch out for that door on the DeLorean. It opens up pretty low.
Joke.
Sorry.
I called you Dan, and now you're just fumbling over the intro.
I'm all verklempt.
I'm all verklempt. Oh my god.
Man, I almost choked on a chicken nugget earlier, so...
Oh, that's
you're lucky I'm alive. I was all by myself at the house. It was great. So, hey, we're going back in time. It's going to be June 29th, 1980. So we're going back 17 years.
Wow. That's a lot of years.
Well, relatively speaking, it's not that many.
There's not many years in the arcadosphere.
According to Tyson something, whatever. Tyson Jones, I forget the guy. Anyway, so yeah. This month, back then, 3 arcade games were released, and I'm going to throw each one of these over to Gar to see what's his opinion on these 3. The first, King and Balloon, released by Namco, medieval type Space Invaders game. Heard of it?
No, that's a new one to me.
It's a very strange game. I think it's on the 60-in-1 board. It's probably one of those games that you're like, what's that? And then you don't play it. Okay. So then, what else have we got? Cheeky Mouse, released by Universal Games.
Cheeky Mouse? I think I've heard of it.
Is he making up these names?
See?
These are real.
Okay, Napoleon.
Okay, now this one,
give me
for
some
sure
of your
you've
tots.
heard of, because this one you see on Craigslist all the time. Astro Invader, released by Stern.
I didn't catch it. What was it?
Astro Invader.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So you know this game.
Yes, that one I do know.
Tell us a little bit about Astro Raider. It's a terrible name.
Invader, like Space Invader.
Like Space Invaders.
I
Yep.
thought you said Raider. Astro Raider.
Raiders of the Lost Ark on the brain.
Yep.
I mean, really, the Cheeky Mouse game's fun because you, like, the mouse tries to come out of the wall and you have to hit it on the head with a hammer. It's great.
So it's
That's entertaining.
It's basically a whack-the-mole game.
I mean, kind of.
It seems weird.
Everybody Google that after you listen to the entire podcast.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Nice.
You're gonna Google.
Oh, and I brought this up. I brought this date up because Star Wars was mentioned in R2-D2. So I figured, Empire Strikes Back actually was the movie at the box office, crushing it. It was released in May 1980, but I didn't realize this. They'd only put it in 126 theaters.
Wow.
And it expanded in June. Gar, are you so young that you did not see Empire at the theater? Tell me.
I actually remember seeing Star Wars in the theater.
Yeah, me too.
New Hope.
Nice.
New Hope.
A new beginning.
A New Hope.
Although, they didn't have that A New Hope Episode 4 thing on until like
the year
2
after?
years later after they...
That I didn't know.
Yeah, I have a VHS bootleg that doesn't have it, so I thought something was wrong with my bootleg, actually. I was like, this bootleg is incomplete.
When I left you, I was but to learn. Now I am the master.
Right.
Only a master of evil doth.
You know what? I'm building up to the music.
The music?
Was I talking over Adam?
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
fine.
By the way, there wasn't much of anything on TV because it was the summer, and the only thing I think that I have of note here is that the Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels cartoon had aired its last episode only a week earlier.
Wow.
Can anybody here do a Captain Caveman impression?
Captain Caveman! That's as good as I can do.
I liked
That
how
was
he
better
spoke.
than I could do.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was always wondering, like, what was he wearing under there? Because was that hair, and like he pulled things out of it, and it was very kind of strange. All right, let's just get to the music that was popular on the terrestrial radio of the day. Number 5, Against the Wind by Bobby Seger.
Whoa. His name is Bobby?
Bobby?
Bobby? Yeah.
Seems like yesterday, all right.
Does. Actually, Bob Seger's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine.
He's touring. You should see him later this year.
Yeah.
Total party, man.
He's quite talented. I guess he wrote a bunch of new stuff this year or last year or the last 10 years. I don't know. Cool.
All right, before we get copyright infringement,
lay it on me.
Number 4, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me by Billy Joel.
Yeah, I love the beginning of this song.
What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing? Can't you tell that your tie's too
One of his best songs, I think.
I love it. Because there's not really another song that sounds like this.
Yeah.
I've actually seen Billy Joel in concert.
What did you think?
It's every bit as amazing as you would think it would be.
Sweet. What was your favorite track that he did?
Geez. I mean, he's got Piano Man. There's so many great songs. It's the whole concert was just one hit after another after another. We saw him out at Alpine, so it was an open air show, and it was a blast.
Cool.
It's definitely one of the highlights of my youth.
Sweet. So you saw him when he was young?
Yeah, I probably saw him 20, 25 years ago.
Wow. Cool. What else you got for us, Mark?
Well, number 3, I know Dan would love this. I wish he was here. The Rose by Bette Midler. I'm glad you jumped across it.
Some say love, it is a hunger.
Yeah. So I believe she did this
the
song.
Rose story you're about to tell?
What's that?
Are you about to tell a story about the Rose?
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
So I believe she sang this song to Johnny Carson. When she had her debut on his show, and he was the one that he repeatedly put her on his show and made her famous. So this song was from a movie too, wasn't it? Or
yeah, it was called, I think, The Rose.
There you go.
Hence the name. Universal Studios, I think they had released 25 videotapes in 1980, and this was one of them, and it was not one of my favorite.
No. So
yeah. Funky Town by Lips Incorporated. What?
Yeah. You know where this band is from?
China?
Minneapolis.
No.
Yep. They originate from Minneapolis.
Minneapolis is a funky town.
You got it.
Are they talking about it? They were.
This song was redone in like 1987 by Pseudo Echo. Also hit the top 10.
I can remember that. I would listen to it at the pool, underwater. And the number 1 song, also pretty good classic, Coming Up by Paul McCartney and the Wings.
Another good intro. Horns, and a little bit of guitar there. It's kind of good that Dan's not here ridiculing the Beatles again.
He'd be like, God, I hate it.
It's just another Beatles song.
Paul McCartney and the Chicken Wings.
Coming up. Nice.
That's good.
That's it, huh?
That's it. We're done with the Back to the Cade segment.
Oh my gosh, it was so soon.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test.
That would bring us to Gar of the Garcade. Welcome to the show.
Woo! What's happening, guys?
So, give us a little bit of your origin story. Where'd you grow up? How'd you get into arcades?
Well, let's see. I am a Milwaukee native myself. Haven't really left. We had a lot of really good old arcades in the area back when I was a kid. We had Aladdin's Castle, and that was before Chuck E. Cheese was a run over. And we, you know, so I grew up being able to just bicycle out to a bunch of arcades and stuff as I was growing up. And, you know, then I forgot about it for years and years, played a lot of consoles and things like that. And eventually got out of gaming, video game style for a while, did the collectible card game stuff. So I've got, you know, did RPGs a lot growing up. And since then, I got back into it about 10 or so years ago. Somebody told me they had a couple of arcade games, and I thought that was really cool. Like, you can actually do that. And at that point, I was pretty much hooked, and I needed something to occupy my time. So I decided to start fixing old arcade games. And I mean, my background's in electrical engineering. So for me, it was more a hobby of fixing them and playing them. So I did that, and I've got 2 small children. So we started going on road trips together, and they would go on the game pickups and stuff with me, and they'd get really, really excited. And then eventually I figured out it was more excited about the candy and the soda than it was going on the arcade game pickups. But, you know, you get to a point where you'll take anything you can get with your kids. So, you know, and then eventually I had a basement full of arcade games that wound up expanding from my basement to including my 2.5 car garage. Once that was filled, then it was, you can either stop or you can go commercial. And we decided, what the heck, we could do this on the side and open a place. It would allow me to keep buying games without my wife telling me I can't anymore because I have no room. And so here we are with the Garcade, and we're opening July 1st. So we're getting ready to open early Saturday morning, 11 a.m. We'll have stuff going on all day and just all sorts of different activities.
What kind of activities?
We have Cosmotrons, which is a great multiplayer. Yeah, the game developers for Cosmotron, Shane and Dave, are coming out. They're going to be here on site. We're going to be doing some Cosmotron tournaments with their full-size arcade games. They're actually bringing 2 of them, the one that was at the Midwest Gaming Classic and a new smaller cabinet. So we'll be doing a lot of free giveaways with that and tournaments, and we're going to be firing off a signal cannon to signify the opening. We are going to have Gamergy energy drink here on site doing free samples of their new product. They're a new energy drink company here out of Wisconsin. They're great. It's no harsh stimulants, no corn syrup, no aspartame. It doesn't hurt your teeth when you want to drink it. So we're really excited to be carrying that here as
I think it's only like 40 calories a bottle or something.
Yeah, it only 10 grams of sugar. So I mean, it's safe for the kids. They're not going to be bouncing off the walls. It's nice, long-lasting energy for the guys that want to be able to do the marathon gaming sessions.
And it's a good hangover cure. Vitamin B and electrolytes. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's really good. Lots of riboflavin. So, and they're from here in Wisconsin, so we're really excited to be able to really push a product that's semi-local to us.
Very cool. So, tell us a little bit about the challenges you faced in putting up your space.
Man, it's been one hurdle after another. I thought this would be a piece of cake, like walk in with a lot of money in your pocket and it would just magically appear. It turned out to not be like that. We've gone through and done various stuff with the city to try to get things figured out within the city ordinances, going through everything from the conditional use process, which is a zoning thing where they will go through and zone your building for your type of business. And we've had to go through occupancy and state approvals, reseller approvals. So it's been a lot of red tape. But I work for the local power company, so I'm familiar with red tape.
Cool. I was going to ask you, what's your day job?
My day job, I work in IT for the local power company here. I do software packaging and distribution, so we do automated deployment of software rather than having a guy actually go and do the installations one machine at a time. And then I also build our corporate images and support 15 to 20,000 PCs.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a pretty, it's a large company to take up a good portion of the Midwest. And so that's what I do during the day. And then when I get off of work, I come here to the arcade and I putz with my machines and just keep telling myself I have a really, really cool game room.
Yeah, so describe your, for our listeners out there, describe your space a little bit.
Sure, we are in an old Dollar General space, so it's very, very wide open. We have 5,000 square feet here available on our gaming floor. We currently have 70 machines on the floor, another 4 or 5 pinball machines. We've got linked up drivers and cockpits, a lot of classics. We try to keep things pre-2000 with the exception of the pinball machines. Eventually we'll get newer ones. But since we have day jobs, the thing is we don't have to worry about paying our own bills with this. The business can actually just continue to sink money back in to bring more and more classics out on the floor. And then we're doing the standard $15 wristband to get in. Everything's on free play. You can come and go as you please all day long. We've got a lot of great eateries here locally. In fact, right in our parking lot, we've got a couple. And it's fantastic. We're in a really good spot. We've got a gaming shop just a couple of doors down. So they do board games, collectible card games, and things like that. So we've got a full bowling alley downstairs in the basement from us. So there's a lot to do in our area, and the business here is really geared for family and, for the pro style gamers.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So tell me a little bit more about the licensing with the city. They came in and did some sort of evaluation. Do you actually have to license each one of your games?
So yeah, we, with the municipality that we're in, we wind up paying a per machine tax. We pay $25 a year per machine, which isn't bad. A lot of the municipalities around us are actually closer to $50. So we were really lucky. And then we're in a very up and coming, growing area. So we've got a lot of young people coming through, a lot of families. And we're right on the border of Milwaukee, so we get to actually pull from the nice large.
What's your address?
Area. Our address here is North 85, West 15920, Appleton Avenue. That's Menominee Falls, Wisconsin.
Is that a vacation destination for July 4th people?
We will be open on July 4th. So to celebrate our grand opening, we wanted to take advantage of the holiday that was coming up as well. So we're doing Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We'll be open from 11 until midnight. And then on July 4th, we will be open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. so that people have something to do in between the 4th of July parades and the fireworks in the evening. And it's a great thing to come out and do with a family. There's stuff for everybody of every age. We've got pinball machines and arcade games and sit-down drivers. We have air hockey. We actually have a gold standard air hockey table, which is like the best around. Cool. And it's a very relaxing environment. We have, a nice cafe-style seating area where you can kind of sit and relax and enjoy a soda and a couple of snacks while you're here. And so it's meant to be a very casual, relaxing environment for everybody.
So you're not selling any restaurant food, but you'll have snacks and pop?
We will. We'll have, like I said, the Gamergy and energy drinks and soda pop, chips and candy. We didn't want to do much as far as food or alcohol because, you know, with the alcohol being introduced, you kind of exclude a lot of the kids. We didn't want to do that. And we, like I said, we have a bowling alley downstairs. So they have a full bar down there. And we have 3 or 4 eateries within a stone's throw of us, like literally walking distance. So we didn't want to compete with them. You know, it was one of those things where the benefit of doing the wristband is that you can come and go as you please. You want to go out and have a nice lunch and come back, you can. You're not limited to really bad bar food here in the arcade.
Or you can go down and bowl and come back up and play some arcades.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, go down, play some board games at TK Games right down the road from us, and so it's great. You know, this area isn't necessarily just our arcade, but there's lots to do here, so you're not stuck doing just one thing.
So your business model is the wristbands essentially, and then any ancillary sales from snacks and pop and such.
Yep,
and that's
pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Okay.
You know, we do have a party room available. You know, it's pretty nominal. We do a $50 per hour fee on that, and then the normal $15 to get in. So, but if you know you want to have a private space where you can bring presents and not worry about it, with the party room, we do allow outside food to be brought in. So
that's great. So for the party room, do they rent the room and then they pay for wristbands as well?
Yep. Yeah, it's the $50 per hour for the room itself, and then $15 per person. We found that to be more cost effective for people than doing like $20 a person. You know, because if you've got 10 people or you've got 20 people, then the cost of the room changes, and the room is the same size. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to, you know, bring something out that's really affordable. You look at some of the other family sites right here in the area, and it's unbelievable what they charge for their party rooms.
So where are you advertising mainly?
We're doing a lot of our advertising through social media, primarily through Facebook. We can be found on Facebook at facebook.com/the Garcade. Otherwise, we are in process of putting up our website right now, and we're starting to get a little more active on Twitter. So,
good. That's awesome. So, tell us about the game lineup.
We're doing primarily a lot of the classic games, things that you'll find in a lot of the old arcades that we remember from our youth. I mean, you know, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Gorf, Donkey Kong, Crystal Castles, and, you know, then we're doing some of the little more modern stuff. So like San Francisco Rush the Rocks, we've got a pair of those. We're actually in the process of trying to get a couple more in here so we can get like 4 of them to be linked up at all times. We are running a couple of different pinball machines. We've got a Star Wars Episode 1. We've got a Gladiators pin from Gottlieb, Williams Road Kings, and we have our very own custom Grand Theft Auto Vice City machine, which is a re-theme of a Hollywood Heat from Gottlieb. And it's fantastic. The art package has been redone on it, and we are in process of doing a custom sound mod to it. So it'll actually, in the near future, be able to play the Grand Theft Auto sounds, as well as have controls on the front to be able to do the radio stations.
Oh, that'd be
so you'll be able to pick your radio station while you're playing, so it's got exactly what you want to hear on it.
You know, speaking of picking your own radio station, do you have Outrun?
We do. We have an Outrun and an Outrun Turbo.
Nice.
So yeah, we've got the brother and sister here ready to go.
Little magical sound shower.
Yep. And we have we have pole position cockpit, so you get the full effect of the pole position with the extra sound to it. And,
nice.
That's fantastic. We're hoping to get a second one here very soon. It's all going to be dependent on the boards. It's always dependent on the boards for those, as we all well know.
How many games are in the Garcade?
Right now we have 70 arcade games on the floor and 4 pins.
70? Wow.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
So
that's what we're going to have at opening, and we expect to be well over 100 within a year.
Wow, that's crazy.
What do you think is the maximum capacity in your space?
I could easily fit 400 games in here and still be able to move around very, very easily.
Oh, nice.
A lot of the partitioning that we did within the space, we used cubicle wall of all things. And the reason we did that was because it would be very easy to be modular. So if we got to a point where we needed more room for more games, we can just change around the walls a little bit. It makes it very easy.
Cool. So I have a suggestion. If you want to subsidize your little space, you should buy an espresso machine.
That's not a bad idea. We've actually thought about doing coffee. I would actually like to do a coffee stand here where you'd actually be able to get a couple of different kinds of coffee, partly to be able to give to our patrons, but also to encourage the police presence. I mean, to be honest, you know, hey, you want to stop in for a cup of coffee? Stop in, here you go, and then they're out the door. But if nothing else, that, you know, that allows for us to have a little extra presence here, just to make sure everything stays okay and that we're in a safe location. I mean, Menominee Falls is great. We're literally a block away from the police department. Let me tell you what their response time is like.
Whoa.
20 minutes later.
Right, yeah, no, this is in Milwaukee.
So you have 70 plus games, and how do you plan on keeping them all running?
Well, like I said, my background is in electrical engineering, and we have locally an incredible pool of collectors. And like I said, many of them have come out already to try to help get the machines up and running and help with preventative maintenance. But for us, the biggest thing isn't going to be necessarily can we keep it running. Our focus is going to be really to try to make it so that we do the preventative maintenance so that the game is always in tip-top condition, and moving forward, it'll be ready to be on, you know, every single day. So that's going to be the big thing, is we're going through and we're doing a lot of real reconditioning of the machines.
Oh, that's good. So which games have you had the most problems with?
Right now, I'm trying to think what we've really got that we've had. The biggest problem that I can honestly say we've had isn't necessarily a game itself. It's the challenge of getting the monitors ready to go and you know, ready to be on for 12 hours a day. You know, that's a lot of wear and tear. They give off a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, again, that comes back to that preventative maintenance, making sure that they've got, you know, fresh, discrete components inside so that they will last another 10, 15 years versus having one thing go, take out 5 or 6 other things, and then you're hunting, you know, to try to figure out what's all been taken out. So
you're not
getting those before things break is, you know, definitely where we want to be.
Bulletproof them.
Absolutely, as much as we can. And I'm really fortunate. In fact, I have George Spanos here giving me a hand while I'm on Arcade Radio with you guys. He's working his magic on my machines, and it's unbelievable watching him work, because it's just like from one machine to another, all of a sudden you see a sign of life and you're like, yay!
Yeah, we didn't mention this, and thank you for giving us this little exclusive interview before you go live on July 1st, but you are actually in the Garcade right now.
I am. I am live from the Garcade. I'm sitting at the front desk right now. I have a feeling I will be living here for the next 48 hours.
That's so cool. It's got to be super exciting.
It is exciting. What I know that you said 2,000 or pre-2000 games, but how did you pick exactly what games went in? I mean, is it your entire collection, or how did that come into being?
Really, it comes down to availability and affordability. Like I said, I brought a lot of these from my own personal collection at home. So you've got a lot of really, really well-maintained classics. And then, you know, we've been looking and keeping an eye out for other classics and some of the weird, obscure stuff that you may not necessarily have played. I mean, like I'm looking at one right now, Dynamite Cop, and I had never heard of it. And it's one of those games where, like, I started watching some gameplay video of it. I was like, this is pretty neat. I mean, you know, you've got kind of a mixture between a fighter and something that's more like a Die Hard, where you've got, you know, a mission that you're trying to accomplish. And so you get this movement that works in multiple directions. You know, it's depth as well as width. And, you know, so we want to give people an opportunity to see machines that they may not have necessarily seen before. One of the things you're not going to see here is you're not going to see things like big buck hunters. You're not going to see things like, you know, a lot of the really more modern bar style games. You know, we're looking to avoid those sorts of things, in part because we don't necessarily feel that they go along with our aesthetic. And on the same token, they have those down in the bowling alley downstairs. You know, if you want to, you know, we don't want to compete with them. We don't want to have them go and pull their games out to try to figure out what they can put in. So, you know, we're trying to be very a good neighbor with the people that are around us, and respect their business, and, you know, try and send people down to them and have them send people up to us.
That's great. I'm looking at Dynamite Cop right now, the gameplay on YouTube, and incidentally, it was released for the Dreamcast too. So if any of you have Dreamcasts out there, you can actually get it at home. I have 2 consoles sitting in a closet. I might actually try to dig this up. And with the lax copy protection on Dreamcast games, I'm sure I can find an ISO. But at any rate,
I wonder if it's on RetroPie.
Really, really interesting gameplay. And RetroPie, I don't know if it would run very well. It's a 3D sort of. It looks like a 3D first-person shooter, but then when you're running through, you end up encountering alien or enemies, and then you can fight them like you would in like Mortal Kombat. So it's
almost, yeah, the fighting's almost got more of like a Virtua Fighter type feel to it.
Exactly, yeah. So very, very interesting gameplay on that.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, how many arcades have you seen that in?
I don't know. I have never seen one, and it's actually got quite beautiful graphics. I'm impressed.
It is. It's very aesthetically pleasing. We've got it on a nice big 25-inch monitor, so I mean,
cool.
It is literally huge in front of your face and a nice cabinet. So, and like I said, everything, we're trying to get everything working just as nice as humanly possible for us. The games working and working properly is our #1 priority.
Right. I mean, I am waiting for Cheeky Mouse to show up, but that's okay. What you know, what on average did you end up paying for the games that you had to go out and purchase?
A lot of them we've gotten very, very cheap. I was surprised. Even recently, I've seen, it seems like unless you want one of those super big A-list games that really can't be emulated properly in MAME, you know, those things are going through the roof as far as prices. You look at like Paperboys and Trons and 720s, and, you know, so getting stuff like that has become a bigger challenge. But a lot of the games that we found here, you know, we've been able to get pretty affordably for, you know, less than $500, and then a lot of times we get them broken, and then we start the arduous task of getting them running and then bulletproofing them and getting them so that they're going to be stable.
That's awesome. What was the least expensive game that you picked up for the arcade?
Your podcast community is going to hate me. I was fortunate enough to get a $25 Robotron that was fully restored.
What? How does that even happen?
Like, brand new stenciled side art, brand new control panel overlay, like top to bottom, just jaw dropping. And it was this weird little auction site that I came across, and it was a farm auction that had like 400 items, and all of them were farm related except this one arcade game. And I sat and I watched it for a month. And as it turned out, the auction was the day of the Super Bowl, and I had 25 arcade collectors coming over to my house. So I'm sitting here watching the arcade auction online, prepping food with my wife, getting ready for like 25 people to come over to our house, doing that mad dash. And I couldn't believe it. Like, my wife and I were high-fiving and jumping up and down in the kitchen, because we were like, you've got to be kidding me. This did not just happen. But we've had a lot of really, really good scores that we've gotten really reasonable. I mean, I got a home use only Asteroids Deluxe at one point that it needed a little bit of work, but I got it for free. And it was beautiful. You know, the nicest side art I've ever seen, and no major dings or anything like that in it. And so we've been really fortunate. We've had a ton of games come through that once we were able to either iron out some minor board issues or monitor issues, we've gotten some really nice, attractive cabinets.
What's the most expensive game that you got in there?
That would probably be closer to one of the pins. You know, you get into like a Star Wars Episode 1, that's a good $2,500 machine.
Oh, love that. I love that. That's great.
If you can get past the Jar Jar Binks. They should have like a no Jar Jar Binks mode, you know.
Forgot about that.
Oh
it's not bad. You know, I joke around about it. I don't mind it. My kids love it. Like, you know, it's part of the canon, it's part of the history at this point. And while he's annoying, you know, there seems to be a lot of TV shows that we love that have that one annoying character. So I kind of give them a pass on that one.
You need to watch the movie again.
It's been a really long time.
Misa Wu in the movie. Oh, Jar Jar. Yeah, it's another Star Wars filled episode, you know.
See, the thing is, we all blame Jar Jar Binks. The reality is we need to blame George Lucas.
Yeah. No, there's so much more wrong with those films than just Jar Jar. I mean, we were just talking about it this afternoon.
Well, and they created more issues when they started going back and, you know, touching things up and adding additional scenes and trying to explain things. It was, you know, I mean, you go back to the whole who shot first, Han or Greedo.
Yeah.
Depends on which version you watch.
Right. Yeah, I don't watch the remakes. I still have my Harmy despecialized editions. So
I still have my VHS bootleg if you're interested.
Yeah, is it like in 4x3 so you can watch it?
4x3, and it obviously looks like it was copied. It's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
It's like
with no ability to fix the tracking on it, right?
Well, it's a wild ride from start to finish.
That's
I don't know which VCR in the middle of there, you know. But
it sounds like
back in 1980, you know, it didn't even get released on videotape until 1984 or 83 or something. It was quite a long time before they put it out in VHS.
And you have it on you got a cam copy from a tube TV?
I think somebody used equipment at a TV station because it had, you know, it was sort of done in the same quality that late night TV movies used to be.
Yep.
It was definitely, you know, not somebody pointing a cam recorder at a screen or anything. So weird.
Do you have any other Star Wars games in your Cade?
We do. We have a Star Wars trilogy.
And what's your opinion on that game?
It's fun. You know, it's updated from the original, and it's got a lot more gameplay to it, but it's more modern. You know, you would expect to have a little more gameplay to it than the original, like Vector. And I mean, trust me, I would kill to have an original Vector with the ESP kit. That would be really cool. But then again, that's another one of those where it doesn't emulate well in MAME, and so it turns into a $2,500 machine.
Sure. Right. Yeah, and do you have any vectors in besides, let's say you said Asteroids Deluxe?
Yeah, we've got Asteroids Deluxe, we've got a Tempest, and if Brian ever makes it down here, we'll have a Battle Zone.
Yeah. Are you going with the True Vector, or are you going to have the LCD one that he has?
No, we're going to be we're going to try to maintain the True Vectors.
Sweet. The true arcade experience.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we try to avoid LCD screens at all possible here. There's some games that do really well with it. Eventually, the Rush to the Rocks will have them. But for the most part, most of the upright machines, we do want to try to keep the CRT experience as much as possible.
So do you have any advice for people that are trying to start up an arcade like this?
Don't do it in Milwaukee.
Stay out of my town.
You know, we did it the way that we did it very grassroots. I mean, my wife, myself, and my business partner Tim, we basically took a small amount of savings from each of us, and we threw it together, and we said, okay, what do we think we can do with this? And you know, the one thing that I tell my kids every single day is the hardest thing that you'll ever do is get started. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, I spent 2-3 years putting together a business plan and writing everything out. And it's a really nice idea in theory, but practically, you know, you're going to get hit with so many different things from so many different directions. Entrepreneurship is very difficult for anybody. Trying to juggle all of the various things, it can be very difficult, but it's also very rewarding. And, you know, the biggest thing that I tell people is, if you really, really want to do it, do it. You know, don't let anybody hold you back. You don't have to do it as big as we're trying to do it. You don't have to be the next Galloping Ghost. You know, you can just, you do your own thing, and people will come and people will support you. And you just kind of go from there, and you feel it out, and you figure out what works and what doesn't. And, you know, that's kind of how life is in general.
Right. I think that it'd be fun to talk to you again in 6 months to see how things are going. and we're going to send as many people as we can that we know in the Milwaukee and Wisconsin area over to the Garcade, because actually was kind of thinking about this before the show too. You're almost like a mini fun spot there, because you're kind of in Menominee Falls is probably a vacation destination for people.
Yep.
And so
Absolutely.
July 4th week could probably be relatively busy for you. Hopefully, you know, where you have folks that are just, you know, like, I'm done fishing for the afternoon. Let's go down to, you know, let's go over here and see there's an arcade here. Let's go in there, you know. So,
leave the walleye in the trunk.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Leave the walleye in the trunk and play a few games of Pod Racer or something. So, you know, just that kind of thing. It's got to be kind of an interesting thing, you know, because you're almost touting yourselves as a museum as well. So,
we are, you know, we like to look at ourselves as kind of a hands-on museum. Something where you don't just get to go and look at things, but you can actually sit and play and touch and do. And, you know, that's really important, that physical, tactile, it makes all the difference in the world. You know, I talk to guys that sit and play in arcades and stuff, and they'll tell you the arcade controls just aren't the same as console controls, especially when you get into some of the specialty stuff. So, you know, having that first person, and then, you know, the socialization aspect of it, you know, getting out and finding people that have the same passions and enjoy the same things you do. You know, we'll be doing all sorts of stuff with air hockey tournaments and trying to work with the local fighter scene and the local shoot 'em up scene, and trying to engage them more and find out, you know, what do you really want? What would you like to see here? And, you know, try to do some of that. In fact, I'm working with Brian on that right now, trying to get some fighter stuff put together so that we can have a nice dark soft kit here and have, you know, the availability that those kind of guys really, really want.
Yeah, bring in the tournaments. It'll be somebody just released recently some online tournament software that you can use freely.
Is Griffith stuff over at Arcade Icons?
Yeah, Arcade Icons, and it's you could fire that up on a 55-inch screen or whatever, and drop in 50 of the games or 10 of the games for the night, you know. And
we're all signed up with Arcade Icons already. We're exploring that route. We're also working with Doc Mac to get everything set up here so that we can be ready to do world record attempts that'll be certified through Arcade.
Sweet. Yeah, I noticed Arcade, and that's for the listeners, AUR Cade, right?
Yep.
And they're sort of an alternative scorekeeping site to Twin Galaxies.
Yeah, you know, it's really unfortunate. Twin Galaxies, they've done so much for so many years now, and over the last couple of years, they've kind of almost gotten burned out. You know, it's difficult to keep up with all the submissions and everything, and Doc Mac's trying to give us an alternative that's going to have the same attention put forth to detail that Walter Day did with Twin Galaxies.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. So, what do you think your first tournament is going to be?
Cosmotrons.
Oh my gosh, I love the game
Opening
so much.
day. We even have trophies and giveaway items for the guys that get involved in the tournament. So I'm hoping lots of people will be out and get really excited for that, because Cosmotrons will be here. They will only be here one day. I couldn't convince them to stay longer. So,
which is sad because they got to bring all that stuff in and then bring it out.
They do. They're in process of doing a big summer-long tour. So if you haven't checked out Cosmotrons, be sure to check them out. They're on Facebook as well as Cosmotrons, and the gameplay is available on Steam. It's fantastic.
You can also download the alpha or beta from their website. So which I did, and it's pretty much exactly how I remember playing it at MGC. So it'll give you a very good feel for the game, and it's again a very awesome competitive gravity-based game. So
it really encourages multiplayer play, which is something that we really value here.
So what's that? Is it what's the name of that new game? Killer Bees or
Killer Queen?
Killer Queen. Yeah. So
yes.
Killer Queen. Are you going to have one of those?
No, not yet. My business partner is begging for one.
Oh.
So it's something that we would like to get on site, because we'd like to do a lot of tournaments. That game is really, really good to be able to run tournaments out of both on site and remotely. So that's something that we would like to eventually get in here. That's one that's real high on our watch list for something that's a little newer.
The problem with that game, and it just to reiterate, it's Killer Queen is basically a 10-player arcade strategy game.
2 cabinets.
Yep, that are joined at the hip.
Yeah, they are.
And and you can hook up multiple monitors to display it up top and whatever else too. But it's it roughly runs between $1,200 and $1,400. Or $12,000 and $14,000. $1,000. Yeah. So
you're talking like 2 new pinballs worth.
Yeah. So you'd have to like sell a few games to get it in there,
or a car.
It's a big draw.
No, we're hoping for a lot of people to come through, and then that money can be rolled back into eventually picking one up.
Are you going to offer like free Wi-Fi too, or?
We do. We have free guest Wi-Fi here.
Sweet.
So we'll have that available, and well, it is available already.
Yeah, and then for those that want to try out arcade icons on their own, they can create their own tournaments while they're there.
Yep, absolutely. And if they do decide to go that route, we're definitely willing to work with people to try to get as much interest behind those tournaments as possible.
Be really interesting to set up a few computers in kiosk mode and let people actually create their own tournaments.
Yep.
It would be really cool if there was a way to drag and drop the games you want to do a tournament on, and then just you could just do it on the fly while you're there.
Yeah, I mean, even if worse comes to worse, if people want to come in and organize their own tournaments, we can take care of getting the tournament stuff put together on the arcade icons on their behalf while they're getting people ready to play.
Well, I've thought of really a few great ideas for my arcade that I'm going to open in Milwaukee soon.
Hey, now.
All right, so where can we see some awesome pictures of your space?
Best place to check us out is on Facebook. There is a ton of content out there, not just our own personal content, but we do also share stuff on other arcades and arcade games and video game related content. So give us a like, give us a follow.
Absolutely. Well, and I just want to thank you for being on the show and being our guest for tonight. Sorry Mark joined us, but maybe she can the next time.
Absolutely, yeah. She needed to take the kids home. We have another press deal going on between 5 and 7 tomorrow morning.
Oh, good.
We'll be on the local news. So the kids are going to be here playing video games because they want to be on TV.
Oh, awesome.
Perfect.
What a great experience you're providing, too, for not only adults to come and reminisce and sort of treat it as a on-hands, museum, but you're giving, which is what I love about my home arcade. When I have our annual party, we from 4 to 8, it's kids and their parents, and so a lot of these kids have never put a coin in an arcade before, in an arcade machine, or pinball. So you're providing, I think you're doing a service. You're kind of passing the torch, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, we even while we've been closed and while we've been working here, we've actually had a bunch of the teenagers that have been walking by, and they'll come in and they'll put their head up against the glass and they'll be looking in, and we wave them on in. You know, it's like, hey, come on in, look around, see what's going on, and we answer their questions. And we're really friendly to kids, to adults. My kids are here all the time. I have an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old. And so for us, it was very important to make sure that we were staying kid-friendly.
Totally understand. So
hey, I have a quick question. Everything's on free play. Does that cover every game, or is there a couple games where you're going to have to like load up some credits?
I think the currently the only thing that we have in-house that is not on free play is we have one small crane plush.
Oh.
And so we do have that. My kids were insisting that it would be here.
Okay.
Sweet. Well, and you need to have that pay for itself, so you could buy some more plushes.
Yeah, and you know, we're keeping it. That'll be in the food and drink area, so you've got something to do while you're having your soda. And,
sure.
I think we're actually going to have a Mega Touch in there as well, and so you know, you're not going to be totally alienated from being able to play games, at least.
Cool. What kinds of things are you selling? Besides refreshments, are you gonna have any like memorabilia or anything like T-shirts or?
We do. We've got T-shirts. We've got bumper stickers. We did some really great support local arcades bumper stickers. You know, we've got T-shirts and keychains. You know, there's all sorts of stuff. You know, we're always putting more swag together.
The Garcade branding is in full effect.
It is, absolutely. Well, you guys saw the pencils and stuff that we were giving out at MGC. We had color-changing pencils. Those were a blast.
Yeah, those were cool.
So, yeah, we do. I mean, we try to do a lot of that stuff. You know, we've got free pins here. And so there's tons and tons and tons at all different price ranges, from free to, you know, we've even got, like, T-shirt specials for $10 a piece. So
you got to get some redemption games in there and get some tickets going.
No. No, you want that, you can go to Dave & Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, true. Well, I just want to thank you for being our guest again. Give us the address of the Garcade one more time, and I think we'll close out with that, huh?
Fantastic. It is the Garcade. www.facebook.com/the Garcade, all one word. Our address here is North 85, West 15920, Appleton Avenue. That's Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, 53051.
Awesome. Thanks again for listening in. This has been Arcade Radio, the double R's. That's arcaderadio.com. And you can email us at react@arcaderadio. Follow us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. And give us a call on the game line, 612-548-GAME. That's it for tonight, guys. Mark, are you dancing?
The game line. Does that mean that people could call?
The game line?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Do we have any callers?
Oh boy. This is going to be one of those Easter eggs, isn't it?
Yeah, like at the end of the movie when you leave and then, you know, you throw your popcorn in the trash can and then you can hear the movie comes back on. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have a call.
We have a voicemail?
Yeah, let me check it out.
Hey there, Arcade Ratio mathletes. It's your frequent caller, lovable and low subscriber having YouTuber Bob Zarzadek. I'm wishing y'all an early happy July 4th weekend here. You know, every July 4th, I climb the roof of my house and I do laps up there. You know, a wise man once said, a roof that doesn't get run on is a wasted roof. Anyway, that reminded me about your guests from the Garcade. Don't ask me how it reminded me. Just go with it here. All right. So Garcade people, will there be a special area for the Garfield enthusiasts, or do we have to, you know, just like enthuse about the funniest cat in the world just wherever? All right. Okay, so I'll hang up and listen to your response in 2 days. Happy July 4th. Zarzadek out.
I think Bob's probably going to be pissed that we didn't play his call until the end.
Jeez.
Is Gar still here?
Gar is still here.
Well, what do you have to say to that?
Well, I'm a huge Garfield fan. So, I grew up reading the comic books. I loved it. We will have a dedicated Garfield section just for the caller.
Oh, just for Bob?
If he comes up here, Bob comes up here, I will make sure he will have a dedicated Garfield section. Not many people know this, but I'm really, really, really good at drawing Odie.
Nice. I used to draw Garfield as a kid.
I'll give him an Odie drawing and I'll sign it. So tell him to get up here.
Bob Zarzadek, if you're listening, we expect to hear you next week.
Please come out there, Bobby.
Speaking of which, if anybody's still listening, we are not on the air next week. We will be picking up the week after July 4th on a Thursday. So listen in then. Until then, I think we're just going to punch the button and go off the air. All
right.